Alright, I'm just going to give you a tour of my car that I'm working on. It's a 1973 Triumph TR6. I think the paint colors, I think it's a royal blue. Could be wrong. Sapphire blue, excuse me, sapphire blue. It's been repainted before I bought it. I've had it probably 16 years or so. Had it on the road for probably 10 of those years, 10, 11 of those years. And then I had, you know, discovered that there's a good amount of rust in where the trailing arm mounts are. So I wanted to get it off the road to get that repaired. And then it's kind of been off the road, and I've been kind of working on and off. But I've kind of decided I really need to get working on it and get it going. So the body's in fair shape. There's some rust areas, typical rust areas. I'll try to kind of go over those. So like when we're in the rear passenger wheel well, right above the rocker, there's a nice area there that's rusted out, and I have the repair panel for that. And you can see up in there, it's kind of hidden, but I did a Bondo repair up in there when I first got the car. So there's a hole up in there that I'll need to repair also when I get the fender off. And then the trailing arms, it's hard to see from this angle, but they're got some pretty good rust in there, especially on the joints. They're kind of puffed up. I don't know if you can see that. They're kind of puffed up. Same thing back here where the t-shirt is. They're kind of puffed up, and you can see the t-shirt. There's some where I've dug at it with a screwdriver. It's kind of rusty, and it's, you know, they need to be swapped out. And I have the replacement trailing arms to swap them out. So that's going to be the major project when I get to that. Up on the front, this side isn't too bad. The rockers are pretty solid, so there's not too much issues on this side. And on the front, sorry, there's a lot of stuff in the way here, but because I only have a 2-car garage, so there's not a lot of room. But around the headlight, there's some rust. It's hard to see, but there's some rust in there around the headlight. Like down in here, it's hard to see it, but there's some rust in there. Front valence is pretty good. No real rust there that I'm aware of. Then I've already got the driver's front passenger fender off. I already did one repair here, so that's the first repair I've done. I just need to grind that down. There's a rust hole here that needs to be repaired. There's also rust holes here. I need to cut that out and repair that. And then the little flange there, that's pretty much gone. So I'll have to kind of do that, but it's pretty flat, so that should be pretty easy. There's a hole down here that goes into the passenger area, and this kind of overlaps here, so I'm not too sure exactly how that's going to go, but I'll need to fix that. And there's also a small hole on this side. You can see it down in there. There's a small hole that needs to be repaired. Then on the rocker, when I took off this fender, there was evidence on the fender that there was a rust starting there. But there's a nice hole here in the rocker. that I'm going to need to repair. I'm not going to replace the rockers because, like I say, they're pretty solid. Just going to patch that right there. And then also the end of the rocker had the end was rusted pretty well there, so I pulled the end off and I have a new end to put on there. Let me see if I have a little light here. Might help visualize things a little bit. So there's back up inside the rocker. There's a lot of rust I raked out of there. So I'm going to have to repair that. And I have that Eastwood. They have a product that you spray up inside areas like that to kind of seal them and stop the rust. So I'm going to try that. Otherwise, there isn't really too much of a issue on the inner fender. The actual fender itself, there wasn't too bad. There's a little something happened up here that's a little off, so I'm going to have to try to straighten that out. There's no real hole there, but it's kind of got a little wavy, bumpy thing going on there. And then around the headlight, you can see that there's some rust there that I'm going to take care of. It shouldn't be too bad, just getting the patch to fit in there will be a little issue, but not too bad. And then the rest of the fender, the only other bad spot is right here that was over that rocker where it rusted out. You can see that, but I'm going to have to cut out a good chunk of that and patch that in. But again, it shouldn't be too bad. Let's see, the doors are pretty good shape. There's some rust bubbles here we'll have to investigate. There's a little bit here, a little bit here, we'll have to investigate. The floors, for the most part, pretty solid. There was right under the, I guess where the driver's foot sat there was a hole, a couple holes here, so I cut, it was kind of thin, so I cut that part out, the bad part. So it's pretty good steel around that, so I've got a patch ready to put in there. And I've welded up a couple little holes. There's another one back there. There's another one here. There's a couple of pinholes here and there that I have to weld up, but it's not too bad. Not too bad. I'd redone the dash several years ago, so it's holding up okay. And the dash pad was new. I basically redone the interior. When I first got the car, I kind of did some easy stuff, and that was pretty easy. So the interior, all the panels and the carpets, and in pretty good shape. So it's all serviceable. And the top is it was put on by the previous owner, and it was like a high quality one, and it's held up well, so it's in good shape. Back here on the rear behind the driver, same issue with some rust right there in the front of the wheel well, and also the same area up in the top there, like on the other side. And I had repaired this one also with Bondo when I first got the car, so that'll have to be addressed. And again, this trailing arm has the same issues, a little worse than the other one. You can see here there's a hole right there. There's a nice big hole right there. And it's, you know, bulging up under the t-shirt there, and the t-shirt's kind of not the greatest looking thing, but I got new t-shirts top and bottom, and I got these new trailing arms. So that's what we're gonna eventually do after we get the body work done. Then on the rear valence, it's got some nasty rust in these corners. This one, I don't think it quite goes through all the way through, but I'm pretty sure there's some issues in there, so I'm going to try to repair that. I don't really want to buy a whole new panel, but we'll see how it goes. There's also a dent here, because I think this car got, there's some, I have records on it where they got a rear bumper, so I think they got hit at some point in the rear lately, I guess. Enough to, well, they had to get a new bumper, and I guess they never bopped that out. So, then over on this side, this is the worst. It goes through the outer and through the inner layers of this rear valance. So this one, it'll be interesting. But like I say, I'm going to try to just repair it and not get a new panel, but we'll see what happens. And the only other area of rust that I know of is in this corner here, which shouldn't be too bad. And then inside the trunk, it's hard to see, but there's right there, there's a hole. But other than that, I mean, the trunk's in pretty good shape. There's nothing on this side. Seems solid. And there's where the tire goes down there. It's solid. There's really nothing that I've found. And I have the gas tank out. I've already repaired the gas tank and sealed it. And it's been out for a while, so it's already done. You can see, like, this was new. I left all the stickers on there from when I got it. I guess I got that from the Roadster factory, it looks like. And that's about the tour of the car. So thanks for watching.